A ribbon of water meanders through a western meadow. It harbors and sustains life on its banks. Streams like this have had a vital role in the settlement and development of the West. Social changes have put greater demands on this water and its adjacent land. Besides traditional uses, it now must support a host of new demands. In fact, western streams have become essential for many uses. So essential, they have been given a special name. They are called riparian areas. As with any recently introduced name, definitions vary. For some, riparian is the area where land and water meet. Others more specifically define riparian as green corridors of vegetation found along rivers and streams, and in and around wet meadows, springs, bogs, and lakes. One reason for this special attention is the expanded use that the riparian environment now receives. It still supports the traditional uses of livestock and mining, but is in equal demand for wildlife and fish, recreation, aesthetics, and a source of abundant and high-quality water. The riparian area provides an ideal habitat for many different kinds and sizes of wildlife and fish. It is an excellent hiding place, and the surrounding shade cools the water during the summer. Insects thrive in the vegetation, and they, in turn, sustain the fish. The riparian area is also a natural attraction for people. It is a place that provides a spectrum of recreation. It is easy to see why people are attracted to riparian areas. They are cool and tranquil places. Riparian areas add to the scenic variety of our landscape, from bright fall colors to lush green meadows, to a rugged shoreline of a high mountain lake. Riparian areas represent only a portion of the total land area when compared to range and forest lands, yet they are the most productive, complex, and important. It is easy to see how conflicts can arise over their use. One example is the fishing hole versus watering hole debate. In southwest Montana, many national forest streams drain into the Blue Ribbon trout streams, such as the Beaverhead, Madison, and Big Hole rivers. These fishing holes are also used by livestock as watering holes. Conflicts between the use of fishing holes and watering holes can result if they are not properly managed. Poor management can quickly lead to degraded stream channels and the loss of all riparian benefits. Just as there is debate over the definition of riparian, there are different opinions on what constitutes degraded riparian conditions. Lou Myers, wildlife biologist for the Bureau of Land Management, has studied the effects of poor management. These studies also have helped define healthy riparian systems.
Well, the obvious things that we look for in a degraded or a degrading riparian system is particularly the channel characteristics, channel widening, undercut, bank failure, raw and eroding banks that are unvegetated, and a lowering of the water table, which generally results in loss of riparian area. And then the other things we look for are obvious loss of vegetative vigor in woody species and changes in the composition, loss of wetland species and then replacing those with upland species. Contrasting that with the functional good condition riparian system, we look for, on the good ones, we look for things like healing banks, narrowing of the channel, increases in vegetative vigor, and the most critical thing is to have vegetation present within the floodplain or the upper stream banks during the spring period when the runoff occurs and we get flooding. Having that vegetation cover there is critical in order to trap sediment, build banks, and provide a narrowing of the channel so that we can raise the water table and extend the riparian zone.
The Forest Service and the Bureau of Land Management manage about 3 million acres of riparian areas in the West. There are 13 national forests in the northern region, which includes northern Idaho, Montana, and North Dakota. Each has addressed riparian management in its forest plan. While specific management practices may vary from forest to forest, each forest has a common direction. Each wants riparian management to provide for stable and healthy systems. Achieving this goal will provide a quality water supply, prime habitat for wildlife and fish, productive forage for grazing, and high-quality scenery. Management options will take these goals into action. Susie Stokey is a supervisory range conservationist on the Beaverhead National Forest, a forest with more than 1,000 miles of fishing streams and more than 150 lakes. Water from these sources is used by 44,000 cattle and 24,000 sheep. Susie has been actively involved in managing riparian areas to meet the needs of both fishing holes and watering holes.
I think the Forest Service has recognized that riparian areas are important for both cattle and fish and a host of other uses, and so we try to manage to provide for optimizing all those uses within the riparian area. One of the ways that we do that is to manage our livestock through intensive grazing systems such as high-intensity short-duration grazing systems or rest or deferred rotation systems, which allow us to manage our riparian vegetation to provide for stable, healthy riparian areas. Another tool we have is livestock management, where you can use briding and salting to help better distribute your livestock. We can also develop alternative water sources away from the riparian area into the upland areas and achieve more use by livestock in those areas.
Putting these plans into action depends on the cooperation and participation of the Forest Service, landowners, and permittees, people like Dave Stewart, who is participating in a project to relieve grazing pressure on riparian areas.
We're here at our storage tank, which is a part of our project that we initiated through the stewardship program to deliver water onto this drier area between the Birch Creek and Willow Creek. We have a pump in Birch Creek that lifts the water about 700 feet vertically and pushes it about 4,000 feet to this storage tank, and then from here it flows out by gravity to about 13 tanks in 3 pastures. Before this was initiated, it necessitated hauling water by truck, and consequently the cattle were more concentrated in areas and were depleting the range because of the concentration. Now there's water available in the tanks at all times, and the cows come and go and spread out and do a much better job of utilizing the feed that's available here. Having the cattle longer on this side of the mountain versus being in Birch Creek, we're able to maybe keep the cattle away from Birch Creek itself or the riparian area that is quite crucial at this time.
Many forests have put a limit on the amount of foraging allowed in riparian areas. Before, permittees had been allowed to average foraging over an entire pasture. That meant that the riparian area could actually be overgrazed, but the figures would show the grazing as acceptable. This inconsistency highlights the need for a systematic monitoring program.
And it became apparent to us that it was very important to know what these things look like over time. So we developed a monitoring strategy that we've used very successfully. We call it the Riparian trend photo plot method. And I'm not sure that the method is as important as the idea that you need some way to tell what is happening over time. The benefits of the method are that you have a photo record to document visual changes in the stream channel and in the vegetation composition and so forth. You also have measurements that you take to determine changes in channel width and depth over time, changes in amount of vegetative cover overhanging into the stream, amount of undercut bank, amount of stream bank alteration. We also try to look at the amount of actual livestock utilization that has occurred on the site, and to be able to try and determine if that level of utilization is influencing the condition and trend of the stream channel.
Riparian management also seeks to understand the potential of each riparian area. Each system possesses a unique combination of vegetative species. By studying these plant communities, managers can tell how close these riparian areas are to reaching their potential. Managers can use this information to plan management, to work out any trade-offs between the needs of riparian areas and the needs of those who use the areas. Managing riparian areas in the West is a complex job, but the goal is clear: to work to build healthy and productive riparian systems. A combination of good management, cooperation with users, and monitoring can produce streams and lakes that make excellent fishing holes and watering holes.